All right, let's get right into it. If you're running a business or trying to build a team in Hungary, you know the hiring game can be tough. So today, we're going to talk about a pretty smart, flexible solution to some of those age-old hiring headaches. It's called employee leasing. What is it really? And how can it actually give you an edge? Let's find out.
Wow, that really hits home, doesn't it? This isn't just some random quote. For so many managers, this is the reality day in and day out. The search for talent feels like a constant struggle, and the pressure isn't just to find somebody, but to find the right body. You know, this one thought? It's the starting point for so many business problems. So let's actually break that struggle down. We're calling it the modern hiring challenge. And as we go through these points, I just want you to ask yourself, does any of this sound a little too familiar?
What's really telling here is how all these things are connected. You've got labor shortages, which means that super important job stays open for months. Then when you finally do hire someone, the amount of admin work is just huge. And then after all that, they're gone in less than a year. And boom, you're right back where you started. It is such a frustrating and expensive cycle.
And that cycle, it has a very, very real price tag. Because the cost of getting it wrong, of hiring the wrong person, it goes so much deeper than just their salary. We're talking about the hidden costs that can really hurt a business.
Let's just be completely honest for a second. Think back. Think about that candidate who seemed perfect on paper, but turned out to be a total nightmare once they started. Every single one of those is a direct hit to your company's finances. It's an investment that gives you absolutely nothing back. It's a tough question to ask, I know, but it's one we have to. And this one really makes you think about your own methods, doesn't it? I mean, if our hiring process is so great, why are people leaving so soon? It suggests there's a huge gap between someone who has a great-looking resume and someone who's actually a great employee. And this just lays out the ripple effect so clearly. You're not just losing money on wages. A bad hire can absolutely destroy team morale. It can cause projects to completely derail, deadlines to be missed, and then it forces you to spend even more time and money to start the whole painful process over again. Every single point on this list is a major blow to a company's progress. Okay, enough of the doom and gloom. Let's talk about the solution. Because this isn't just about patching up a broken system. This is about taking a whole new, strategic, much more flexible approach to how you build your team. And that approach is employee leasing.
So what on earth are we talking about here? Well, in Hungary, the official term you'll hear is employee leasing. It's basically a well-defined legal way to handle temporary employment. And here's the key thing to remember. You get skilled professionals working as part of your team for up to 5 years. But, and this is the important part, you don't have to be their direct legal employer. All that responsibility, it sits with the leasing company. Just look at this side by side. Over on the left, you've got the old school way, all the risk, all the rigid rules. But on the right, with employee leasing, it's a completely different story. That mountain of admin work, someone else handles it. The commitment, it's flexible. The financial risk of a bad hire, it's way, way lower. And your team size can grow or shrink depending on what you need. The most important point is that you're transferring the risk and all that red tape away from you. Now, all of this sounds great on paper, but how does it actually work? Well, that's where a specialist comes in. So let's take a look at how one company, ITL HR Solutions, actually makes this happen for businesses in Hungary.
The process itself is actually really straightforward. You just figure out what you need. Then ITL does all the heavy lifting. They find the people, they vet them, they hire them. They take care of the entire back end of the employment process. So what's your job? Simple. You're still the manager. You direct their work every day and make them a part of your team, just without any of the paperwork headaches. And when we say paperwork, this is what we're talking about. Making sure you're fully compliant with the Hungarian Labor Code, which is complex, by the way. Managing all the social security and payroll stuff, all the taxes, the contributions, sick pay, expenses, you name it. These are the tedious, time-sucking tasks that ITL just completely lifts off your shoulders. Okay, now here is where it gets really interesting. The biggest risk in hiring is just human error, relying on that gut feeling. ITL's approach is designed to completely take that gamble out of the equation. How? By using a data-driven, almost scientific way of selecting people. This quote just nails the philosophy perfectly. There's no in-between. A new person on your team is either going to push you forward or they're going to hold you back. And the whole point of a process like this is to make sure you're only ever getting the engine. So, how do they find these star candidates? It's about so much more than just looking at a CV.
They use a whole range of tests: a personality test to make sure they'll fit in with your team, a competency test to prove they actually have the skills they say they do, and a behavioral profile to predict how they'll actually act on the job. Basically, they are filtering out all the risks before a candidate even gets to you. And what do you get from all that screening? You get certainty. This idea of no cat in a bag, it means you know exactly who and what you're getting. You're not just crossing your fingers and hoping a new hire works out. You're bringing on board someone who has been scientifically vetted for success. You get people, not problems, a resource, not a risk. And that really brings us to the final question, doesn't it? After seeing the real costs of the old way and the clear benefits of this new approach, it all boils down to this. You can keep playing a game of chance and paying the price, or you can switch to a measurable process that's built on data. So, which one do you want to build your company's future on? Thanks for joining me for this explainer on employee leasing in Hungary.